Hard Rock Lunchbox.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the show. Welcome to the Hard Rock Lunchbox. And of course, if you're watching on Strangerhood TV on YouTube, welcome to the top 20. I'm sorry I'm late. I was trying to handle something here, and just couldn't. Unsurprisingly, something else I just couldn't seem to handle or get to work the way I wanted to, and that is just absolutely unfortunate. I do not have my light housekeeping here. I do not have notes anymore, so I know there's a new top 20 out. I honestly don't remember what it's about. It was only a week ago. You'd think I'd remember, but I don't. So please check it out and like it if you want. I know I was actually just rewatching the one from a couple weeks ago, which is called Seeing the Slights, which I thought was incredibly clever of a title, if I do say so myself. If you haven't seen that, it's worth watching that too. And I always do try and put out some at least decent content. I always try and have something to say whenever I show up here every Thursday to try and talk about whatever. But I gotta say, like, I'm pretty spent this time. I'm pretty spent this week, and it's unfortunate because I will not be here next week. Yeah. There will be no show next week. I have to go to Cincinnati for work, which sounds awful. I'm actually kind of hoping to have an actual nice time of it. I'm going to be meeting face-to-face with and working face-to-face with a lot of the team I had mentioned whenever ago that the company I work for, that I am the sole programmer for, has merged with another company who has a team of programmers, and I am going to join their sort of summit to kind of go through a lot of the open software tickets that they have, and it'll be good for me to do that. It'll be nice to get out of here for a little while and just sort of change some scenery. I mean, I'm hoping that helps try and get out of my little cage that I work in all the time. So I'm hoping that that's going to be a good thing. It will be nice to meet these people. I like to consider myself as fairly personable. So I'm hoping that goes a long way, because if all things considered, like I'm expecting to work with these people for the next 20 some odd years. So it'd be nice to get along with them. I mean, I feel like I get along with them now already, but I'm hoping that some in-person FaceTime. And it's funny too, because I don't do this stuff often. Like I am often the only member of a software team for the companies I work for, because I typically work for small to medium businesses. And now I'm working technically for a very large one, but I am still the only guy at my division. So I do spend like 90% of my time completely alone, completely isolated. And it's a weird thing. Like, I actually had to ask, like, the only time I've ever done corporate level stuff like this is like on site at headquarters, and we're not even going to be there. We're going to be at some, I don't even know what it is. Like, that's how little I know about what's happening. We're going to be at some club or room or whatever. I just don't know. And I actually had to ask. I was like, hey man, I don't do a lot of corporate stuff, but I do realize it's August in Cincinnati. So I was like, what are we talking for dress code here? Like, because coders tend to dress like you think coders would. Now, even though I'm more than just a coder, I'm like a project manager, I'm a software developer. I do high level stuff, but I also do the actual work in my business, because like I said, like, I'm the only one. Like, I've had people work for me, like, to do web stuff and stuff that's a little bit more generic, but the database engines that I run are a little specific, and you kind of need to be like really on your game and know what you are doing in that. So it's really hard to find somebody that can just jump in and do that. So I've had people work for me over the years, and I definitely have temps work for me from time to time on any project I can farm out. But I had to ask, I was like, so is it like corporate casual? Like, what suit and tie? Like, what are we doing here? And I was like, I'm not planning on wearing my Slayer shirt or whatever. But like I said, I'm like, I do realize it's August in Cincinnati. I'm like, where are we stand, like, on shorts and stuff? But the project manager messaged back, just like, I think we can definitely go with comfort over corporate. Shorts should be fine. And the head of development over there the head of programming over there was like, I have no problem with your Slayer shirt. So I was like, all right, cool. Still not going to wear my Slayer shirt. I might wear a Rebel 9 shirt, though. Definitely going to have my Rebel 9 hat, that's for sure. I only really wear the two hats, right? I have my Rebel 9 hat and I have my New York Gridlock hat, which, if you don't know, New York Gridlock is the first professional women's ultimate frisbee team, and they play in Randall's Island. They're actually really, really, really good. But I'm a big fan of ultimate frisbee, so I wear my Gridlock hat. Not that anybody asked. But yeah, so I feel like it's unfortunate that I really have nothing to talk about today. I mean, I did. I just can't really wrap my head around any of it because I am just so. I feel like just completely leveled. I feel like the fight in me is all but gone, and I just can't seem to really do the job anymore, and it's just exhausting. So the upside is. Well, the downside is that I feel like this is going to be a lame-ass show because I'm sure I could say something and offer up something about the world and things that are going on that might be of some import to people, but I can't really think of anything. And that's why it's unfortunate, because also next week I will clearly not have anything to say because I won't be here. So the only other thing I have to announce is I have agreed to do Donna's Unplugged in 2 weeks from today. So I'll be down at McBride's on, I guess that's August 21st. So I'll be doing that. So if you're in or around Belmore or McBride's and, care to see me or hear anything I have to say or sing, that might be a good time to get down there. I don't know when I will do another one. It just happens to work out this week because even though I'm away this week, Noodle is also away this week, so I do not expect the band to get together and practice. But the week after that, Tony's away. So while I expect that we'll practice probably on Tuesday, who knows what they'll do on Thursday. I really have no idea. That's neither here nor there. I will say another Rebel 9 news. We did pick up a brand new show. We are going to be playing Amityville Music Hall on September 6th. That's a Saturday. Yep, September 6th. Tickets are on their way to me. As soon as I have them, I will let you know. I'll also let you know ways that you can purchase them. And I honestly don't remember what the show is. That's how bad of a day I'm having here. I don't remember what the show is. I do know that we are not closing because I asked to not close. I know last time we did close, and we had to leave the place immediately, and while that was fun and funny, it would be a little bit better for me to just sort of stick around and be able to maybe sell some merch to some new people so we can make a couple of bucks back on the show. So that's what you need to know for Rebel 9 show news. I'll be unplugged in 2 weeks, and then just under a month we'll be at Amityville Music Hall. I'll have more details as we get closer to that and or as I remember them. The only other Rebel 9 news is that we have officially started pre-production for the next batch of recording. I've been sort of mentioning that over the past couple of weeks because we've been trying to get it started, and we've just needed some schedules to coincide, but we were able to sort of record, in-room record, not record, in-room record the 8 songs that we currently have ready. We are not recording all 8, and it's actually been a pretty interesting conversation trying to have that with the band. I feel like they're in agreement. I think so. I think Noodle is really the only holdout, and it's really only because he gets super excited about recording, which is funny because he is the main reason we're only going to do 3 at a time. And the short of it really is, for example, the short of it is this: we have 8 songs ready to go. Now I do have 4 that I am currently working on. They'll be ready soon. They'll be ready as soon as the band catches up on other stuff. In fact, one of them I've already given to the band, but they haven't learned it yet, so we haven't started working on it. So I haven't included it in this batch. But the reality of it is this: we are more than capable of recording 8 songs at a time. I do not expect Rebel 9 to ever release another record, except for the live record, which is looking more and more like it's going to be out in October. I don't see any reason to it. I don't see any value in doing it. I've talked to a couple people that are interested in releasing their own records, full records, and I think with the exception of doing it to have done it, I don't see any value in it. And I feel bad saying this, but I cite the Pathmaker record a lot. I think that is a really great record. But I think if you look at the stats on it and the streams on it, you'll get a really good reason why that is not necessarily the way to go in the digital age. And again, I don't mean to pick on them. I'm always surprised at how few streams that record has, and I can't help but think that maybe it's because they released an entire record, and it's very hard for people to just focus in. Like, yeah, you can listen to a record, like, you know, you can listen to a record incessantly. Like, there's nothing keeping you from doing it. It's just human nature tends to keep you from not doing it. And then, of course, you'll always have your favorite songs in a record, so those are the ones you're going to listen to the most. And then the other ones just don't really get listened to, and then eventually the flavor's gone, and it fades, and you forget. And I think that that's the main problem with releasing a full record these days. I think if I've learned anything since Side Out and since Do No Harm, it's that when we release singles, and it's not rocket science, like, we just tend to stay on people's radar. Like, our goal is really to release a song every 3 to 4 months. Like 90 to 120 days is really the metric. And when we do that, we get to really focus on that single. And not only do we get to focus on that single, but everybody that listens to it gets to focus on that single. You're not distracting your attention or distracting your streams by playing other songs on the record. And that allows for a very intense listenability and listenership of that single. And every time we've released a single since Side Out, it has followed the exact same trajectory. So if we put 120 days or 90 days between songs, what happens is we release a single, and I'll go through it just this last time. We released End Us All. It was a long time between Inside and End Us All, which is why we released a couple of the live singles. They did not do well by our standards, but they did okay enough. You know, like, I think San Jose is only at like 8,000 streams or whatever. Like, It's Alright is already north of 10,000. Like, it in less than a month, it crossed 10,000 streams. That's a really good metric, considering that most people on Spotify, some statistic, like 95% of the artists on Spotify don't even have 1,000 combined streams. Rebel 9 has over 1 million combined streams, right? Like, so we are not just some local garage in the corner band. Like, we're actively out there, and we actively have listeners. But the trajectory that I wanted to talk about. So we released End Us All, and because it had been so long since we released Inside, like, it took a little while. Like, I actually can watch the graph go up, and then, you know, eventually you see it start to climb, and it starts to catch, and it starts to land on playlists. It starts to end on some editorial playlists on Spotify, which is the gold medal as far as I'm concerned, because they control everything, unfortunately. And that is how that song gets to 35, 36 or whatever. Or I think at the time it was like 30-something thousand plays. So at that time, at the height of all that, we had about 12,000 monthly listeners, which is what you would expect to have those kinds of streams, and that's about right. But over time, the number of plays on End Us All and the number of monthly listeners starts to fade. And so by the time It's Alright came out on July 4th, we had probably dropped to about 3,000 or 4,000 monthly listeners, because people had already listened to everything they wanted to listen to on End Us All and maybe found some other songs, so they moved on to other bands. It's how that works. But I will say, when we released It's Alright, it immediately went up, because it showed up in everybody's release radar. Anybody that follows the band immediately gets notified that we have a new song out. And just all those good things. And we're actually going to be working on new ways to kind of communicate and notify people about when we're releasing new material. But I'll have more details on that as we get closer to the next show. And then what you see happen is that 2,000 to 3,000 monthly listeners, as soon as we release It's Alright, that starts climbing. It's Alright starts getting plays, and because It's Alright is also on the same EP as End Us All starts getting more plays. So End Us All is now north of 35,000 streams or whatever it is, because it's getting a bounce from It's Alright. And now, last time I looked, we were at like 13,000 monthly listeners. And you're going to see, as we slide into releasing Run Through Me, which is probably going to be delayed because we just don't have a show worthy of doing that. And I'm probably going to end up saving it to December, which sucks, but I don't have a really big show to release it for. We were supposed to be playing the 17th. I was planning to release that in September, but we got bumped off. We basically got kicked off that show, or asked to leave that show, which is super great. And now we have the Amityville Music Hall show, which is on the 6th, and I do not have time to release Run Through Me before then. So that's why that song's not going to come out. But what you're going to see, if you want, and maybe I'll remind you as we get closer, like around November, end of November, you'll see. Well, our monthly listeners will be down around 2,000 to 3,000. It's Alright is getting about 250 streams a day. That should be back down to about 20, 30. That seems to be like our normal amount, given that many monthly listeners. And then, of course, all the other songs get something. Because who knows? You never really know what people are listening to. I mean, statistically, you can find out, but it's we're not dealing in millions of listeners, so it's a little harder to actually see trends when you're dealing the difference between like 1 or 3 people, right? So it doesn't really help. But you'll see our numbers will be lower. Our daily streams will be lower, our monthly listeners will be lower, and then we'll release Run Through Me right before our December show, and I'm expecting it fully to do the same track, and then we get to do it all over again, because the plan is to have these, to start recording in November, December, to have 3 more songs, and then we'll just, keep this cycle going for the rest of ever, is currently the plan. And I'm sorry I didn't get to talk about the reason that, Noodle is the one that actually benefits the most from this, despite his wanting to do all 8 songs, but I am just completely exhausted now, and now I'm completely wiped out. So I feel like it's time to just go into some music. I'll try and reset all this stuff. Thank you, of course, for listening, and thank you, everybody that showed up today. Let's just do some local music. I'll try and catch my breath, and then maybe I'll have something to say a little bit later.